Hi, and welcome to your final week, week 7 of Social Work 633, Social Work Practice with Families. Congratulations, you have made it thus far. Over the last 6 weeks, we have been looking at multiple different theories, different approaches, some building upon each other, some radically different from other ones, and you have been working really hard to organize, understand, conceptualize, create a framework for family practice. And so my hope is that at this point in the semester, you're starting to feel a bit more clear maneuvering around the different tools in your family toolbox or tool belt that you could potentially use. So this week we are looking at some models that you may see in nonprofits and social services that haven't been mentioned yet. So we're going to think through some approaches that are starting to build evidence around them, such as parent-child interaction therapy and also trauma-focused CBT. And also look at some other models such as multisystemic family therapy and multidimensional family therapy. Um, Mostly we want this week to support you in understanding that, the most valuable tool that might be in your family toolbox is the ability to put those tools aside and really figure out by your assessment, by connecting with the family, what this family is going to need and how that can draw from a specific approach, and also how that might look if you were to pull aspects of different approaches. And, we really just promote being flexible and thinking through how you will intentionally intervene with families. So for this week, we have 3 different discussion forums. 2 are based on films. And we also have you looking at 2 different websites in our second discussion forum. So our objectives for this week are that you can come away describing at least some key concepts and some interventions, some of the approaches from each of the theories that we've studied, and to be able to really look at the strengths and limitations of each approach, recognizing that one approach is not going to fit all families. And so we really want to try to connect which approaches fit which families and at what given time in their family life cycle. The second objective for this week is that you can identify at least 2 family interventions that do have some evidence base behind it, and to be able to knowledgeably critique literature that you see out there and understand when it is evidence based and if that makes sense to choose from that type of approach given the evidence that you're reviewing. Another objective for this week is that we want you to be able to apply at least 2 family therapy theories to just a current feature film that can show, a family that is dysfunctional or a family that's struggling in one way. So you get to choose the film, and we give you a list that just can encourage you to think about some of them. And last of all, we want you to be able to think about the role of trauma and how it plays and wreaks havoc in a particular family. And so there is a family therapy video called Family Secrets. So we'll ask you to reflect on that. So for your readings this week, you have another chapter, 13 and 14, in our Nichols book. And then we have an article about intervention research in couples and family therapy. And there's just a little side piece to Note Table 2, which actually summarizes some problems and issues for different couples and families therapies that have been able to connect with certain types of problems. And then we want you to choose, as we have for previous weeks, one of the following articles. And you'll see there's, again, a wide variety of diverse different types of articles, lots about the evidence base and how to really evaluate that for family therapy interventions. So this week, our websites, there is a multiplicity of them. So you'll see that there's actually 5 below. And from these 5, in one of our discussion forums, we'll ask you to pick 2. But we do want you to explore each and every one of the websites here, at least skimming through, looking for key concepts. And then in the discussion forum, you'll be asked to choose 2. And then we'll have videos. So you will have the Family Secrets video, and then you'll be given a chance to choose a video that talks about families. So for our first discussion forum, you will analyze one of the feature films that are on the following list. So all of the films just present unique, different family dynamics, different problems, different strengths, limitations. And so if you can click on either of these 2 links, you'll find several different movies, and you just choose one. You can rent it. You can find it in different places. And then after watching one of the films, just complete an initial post that can include at least the 2 theoretical approaches that you did use in your paper that you just submitted. So you need to choose those 2 approaches and then comment in your initial post about the family in the movie that you're watching. For the second part of that initial post, just identify exactly what you would do to help the family in the movie that you're watching. We do want you to include references and citations for at least 2 of the course readings, and there's been a ton of course readings, so we want to make sure that you do cite some of that information, and just make sure you include the name of the film that you did watch in your original post. You will need to do a follow-up post to appear, just to really encourage and kind of think about some of those strengths and limitations. And for your second discussion forum, you're going to review contemporary approaches to family systems work. So we want you to look at the websites below. I mentioned we'll want you to just skim through each of them as you're initially working through the material. But choose 2 of the websites, and then based on those websites, complete an initial post that really starts to describe each of the 2 therapeutic approaches that you reviewed, and then compare the 2 approaches, describe 2 of their strengths and 2 of their limitations, and just comment on also the strengths and limitations of looking toward research to inform the selection of a family systems approach for any particular family. So for this, you're encouraged to respond to peers, but you're not required to do so. And so this is something to just attend to, is make sure, depending on the forum, that you're either required to do a follow-up response to a peer or not, because this is really an easy area to sort of accidentally miss that portion and lose some points on there. Our final discussion for this week is an analysis of the Family Secrets video that we'll have you watch, and also a final check-in, a final sort of reflection on the course. So for your initial post, I need you to describe the theory that's used by the therapist in 2 different interventions in the video. So, can you trace back one of the strategies to structural therapy, or Bowen therapy, or narrative therapy, or trauma-informed therapy? And then just kind of reflecting on the film and also the past 7 weeks of our course, what's your comfort level with the idea of seeing families in order to help specific individuals? What do you feel like you're capable of doing? What do you need to know more about in order to be effective with families? And then if you think back to one of our original shared social work cases, the story of Anita and her family, what's one intervention that you now think could help Anita and her family? And so that will be for your initial post. You are encouraged to respond to peers, but not required in this forum. The last piece of this week is, as we have in previous weeks, a self-care activity. And this is really an article about 6 mindfulness exercises that you can try. And they're really focusing on different aspects of mindfulness. So mindful listening and mindful tasting and mindful, sort of sensations. So I encourage you to do this, especially after you have completed the rest of your work. It might give you a chance to really decompress and help integrate all of the information over the last 7 weeks. And for the final piece of this course, we are asking you to complete yet another survey. But this survey is really important for us to be able to get a sense of how we can continue to do things differently in this course, ways to enhance it, to get some feedback. And so I highly encourage you to complete the survey as your final piece in the course. With that, good luck with your final week. I hope that you feel a sense of pride and accomplishment as you've made it to this point, and a sense of confidence in the idea that you can help individuals and families through your work, through your strategies with them, the different approaches that you've gained from your ability to choose and decide on different interventions and frameworks that may support families, and be very intentional about it.